I started painting music just because I would try to explain synesthesia so many times. It never quite made as much sense to describe it verbally. So I thought it would be best just to put it on canvas just because I've always been an artist, and it made it much easier for people to be able to understand it. My name is Melissa McCracken, and I am a synesthetic artist. Synesthesia is a neurological condition where your brain is basically cross-wired, so certain stimuli will come in and it'll create the wrong response in my brain. So for me, that's listening to music, and it's translated into color in my head. I'm going to paint Superstition by Stevie Wonder. I love the song Superstition just because it's dynamic and funky and just fun and expressive. Whenever I start a piece, I have to listen to the song first to even know what kind of colors I'd like to use. There are some songs that I hate that I like the way that they look a little bit. Like a lot of pop music can be pink and purple and, you know, just all these fun, bright colors, but the song's not that good. So one or the other, I appreciate it somehow. You know, you kind of really have to be in the right vibe to be able to paint. If you're not in the right vibe, you're not gonna make anything good. I think the prettiest genre of music is jazz music. I love blues and golds and whites, and it just seems very pearly and iridescent a little bit. When I listened to Etta James at last, the thing that stuck out most to me was just her voice at the very beginning when she goes into the at last. At last. And it's just a very bright and but also warm sort of feeling, very kind of classic jazzy, which jazz music generally has a very gold and blue sort of look to it. Music has always been a very big part of my life. My older brother is very musical, and when I think back of him playing the guitar for me, I think of the colors of what those memories are. I was always a little disappointed because I was never very musically inclined. It was really cool to have a way to bring music into, you know, my life in a different sort of way.
I remember my first experience of seeing this amazing production of art that was different than what I had seen, and it was such a personal expression by the person making it. They may or may not have had language, they may or may not have been able to communicate with me, but they're making this work that's really, you know, a window into their soul. When you ask someone who's been disenfranchised their entire life to tell me your story, it's amazing how the door opens. Creative Growth Art Center is the oldest and largest center for artists with disabilities in the world. When we were founded, the idea of disability then was so radically different than what it is now. We didn't come out of a hospital setting, or we didn't come out of a vocational training program. We came out of some artists getting together in a home in Oakland, putting paint on a table in the garage, and just saying, this is what artists do, and this is how we can change the social fabric. From those kind of humble beginnings, we now serve 162 artists with disabilities in our studio every week. It's a very big space. Within that, you'll find almost every possible expression of visual art. You'll see the rug making area, the wood shop, the ceramic studio, the fashion area, the painting and drawing area, and everyone's working together and everyone can see each other. It's different than most places, and some people don't believe it. Some people think like you must have doctors and you must have all these other things. How do you deal with the studio every day? It's like, no, you know, art is the common language. And a lot of our folks don't verbalize or speak, or they speak sign language, but art is the language that moves us forward.
This is called the Oil Red Sea #1. Red is the only color I can see.
You look at work of an artist like Dan Miller, he's pretty much nonverbal. His mother tried to encourage him to speak by telling him how to spell words when he was a boy every night, and he never spoke them until he started to draw them.
The light go click, click, click.
Look at an artist like Monica Valentine. She takes pins and she takes sequins and colored beads and she strings those together on the pin and she puts them into styrofoam forms to form these optically charged sculptures. When you realize that Monica has prosthetic eyes and can't see color or see anything, it moves into this whole other range. We want their own voice. We want it as pure and personalized as it can be. And 45 years later, it continues to work. How's that building coming along, Pete? It's looking good. The record of success that Creative Growth has is phenomenal. It's off the charts in terms of what an art school or any other sort of enterprise would consider to be acceptable. We have 3 artists with work in the Museum of Modern Art Permanent Collection in New York and the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art Collection. And this year, we have the first 2 people with developmental disabilities that have worked in the Venice Biennale. The Venice Biennale is the most important, prestigious, by invitation only exhibition in the world. Their work is sought after. A piece is done and there's a waiting list. Rosina, I haven't even said hello to you yet today. How are you? To be able to work at a place like this is beyond anything I had hoped for. I get to work with phenomenally talented people and to see how they negotiate the day every day, how they get around obstacles, how they continue to say yes when everyone is telling them no, that's an amazing thing. That's a life lesson I get reminded of every single day.
These paintings, they aren't done with acrylic, oil, or watercolor.
Excel を使って絵を描いてます。
Microsoft Excel, the computer program. This is a story about Tatsuo, the Microsoft Excel artist.
私はね、堀内達夫と言います。77歳です。
When Tatsuo retired, he decided he wanted to paint. But there was one problem. He was cheap.
始めるきっかけがね、最初から挑戦的でしたからね。パソコンでどうしたら絵描けるだろう。絵の具買うお金もいりませんね。水を持ってくる必要もありませんね。
He didn't even want to pay for an art program. So he used what was already on his computer.
そういうね、ケチな考えからね、Excel がいいなと、安いプリンターでね、これだけできますよ。
So how do you paint in Excel? The line tool, it's usually used for spreadsheet graphs. That you can make trees with. And the bucket tool, it helps with subtle shading on, for example, the crest of a volcano.
でそういうことができるんだっていうのは、それ一つずつの発見で今は簡単にできますから、ね、私がね、Excel で絵を描き始めたのはね、2000年からなんですよ。目標を立てたんですよ。10年間でね、普通の人の鑑賞に頼るような絵を描こう。でバカにする人いっぱいいるわけだ。役にも立たねえことをね、どうしてやってんだよ。バカじゃなかろう。ね、バカなんだよ。絵心なんかなくたって、Excel さえあれは描ける。絵というのはね、なかなか売れないんじゃないの？一瞬わかりませんけどね。私の絵をね、これ買ってくれる人がいるとね、実にありがたいんですけど。
The idea came from my father. He told me about there are pictures on the walls in the subway stations of old buildings, you know, old New York. 20 years later, after going through everything, school, college, and all that stuff, I thought I would finally give it a look and just see what my father was talking about. It was going to be a short article. I was going to illustrate some stations with some pictures and tell the stories, but it kind of ran away with me. What I set out to do is make a record of the appearance of the subway stations in New York City. I take drawings of the mosaic or faience designs on the walls which embellish the stations. I devote as much of my time as I can to doing it. Evenings, weekends, vacation time even. You know, it's a sort of a consuming project. So far, I've completed 4 volumes, volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. My ambition is to take care of all the lines until all 496 or 469, 470 stations have been recorded and seen. Why am I doing it? Okay. My purpose in doing this study is to make a record of what we've got. I want to document when it was done and who did it. So that's what I want to do. That's my focus, is to give credit to those who made it possible. I really started in earnest in 1978. And I thought I'd get this project finished and wrapped up by the year 2030, which is only 14 years from now. Perhaps I have to re-estimate and suggest maybe closer to 2040. I'll be in my 90s then. Hope I can still see. The pleasure of doing the job is payment. I've committed to it, that's all. It's my purpose, it's my life. It's become my identity. So I have to live up to it.